Welcome back. In this first video for the Consistent Underwater Edit series, we are going to talk about one of the biggest reasons underwater Lightroom edits feel inconsistent. Most photographers do not need more random Lightroom tips, and you sure don't need more presets. They need a repeatable, consistent system. In this lesson, I'm going to show you why better underwater edits start with a clear sequence you can follow every time. White balance, exposure, presence, color, masking, and final adjustments. The problem with random editing is that each adjustment changes how the next one behaves. If you start with exposure, then jump to color, then use dehaze, then go back to white balance, you may end up changing the same decisions over and over again. That is why random editing creates rework. Earlier adjustments stop working because the foundation keeps changing. A consistent sequence does not make editing rigid. It helps each step build on the one before it, so you spend less time guessing and more time improving the image. The better question is not what slider should I try next? The better question is, what is the next step in the system? That question changes the way you edit. Instead of reacting to whatever looks wrong in the moment, you follow a decision-making process. White balance sets the color foundation. Exposure builds the tonal structure. Presence adds definition. Color refines the look. Masking solves local problems. Final adjustments polish the finished image. When you ask what comes next in the system, the edit becomes calmer, faster, and more consistent. This is an important note. Consistency does not mean every underwater image should get the same look. A wide-angle reef scene, a diver portrait, and a wreck environment should not all be edited to look identical. They have different light, color, contrast, and storytelling needs. Consistency means you use the same decision-making process on every image. Different scenes, different subjects, same trusted system. That is what helps you to get more predictable results without forcing one style onto every photo. This is why the order matters. Each step prepares the next step. White balance sets the true color foundation so everything else can work correctly. Exposure then builds the tonal structure without clipping highlights or crushing the shadows. Presence adds definition and depth. Color refines and balances the image. Masking targets specific local problems without changing the whole photo. Final adjustments add the polish at the end. When you follow the sequence, you understand the cause and effect. You know why an adjustment is working, and you know what to do next. That is where consistency really comes from. This is the simplest way to see why sequence changes everything. You can start with the same underwater clip or the same underwater image and get very different results depending on the order of your adjustments. When the order is wrong, fixing one thing often breaks another. Color stays off, contrast gets harsh, details start to look unnatural, and you spend more time fixing problems you created earlier in the edit. When the order is right, each step supports the next. White balance gives you a better color foundation. Exposure builds better tone. Presence adds depth. Color becomes easier to refine. Masking becomes more targeted. Final adjustments become polish instead of a rescue. That is the real advantage of a repeatable system. Sequence is the system. Understanding is the advantage. Once you have a repeatable sequence, editing starts to feel different. You are no longer sitting in front of a Lightroom wondering which slider to try next. You know where you are in the process, and you know what the next decision should be. The confidence matters. It reduces hesitation. It saves time. It also helps you trust the edit because you understand why each step is happening. White balance sets the true color. Exposure builds the right light. Presence adds clarity and depth. Color refines and balances the image. Masking targets local problems. Final adjustments polish the image with your signature style. That is the difference between guessing and following a system. If you want to see this complete workflow applied from start to finish, join me for my free live masterclass, The Consistent Underwater Edit, on July 22nd, 2026. In the masterclass, we will walk through the repeatable 6-step editing system, show how each Lightroom step affects the next, and help you stop guessing what to adjust next. The goal is simple: better results, more consistent edits, less rework, and more confidence every time you open an underwater image in Lightroom. You can reserve your place at info.robertherb.com/masterclass. Until the next time, keep diving, keep learning, and edit with intention.